the UFO thing. I mentioned this early in the episode, which I enjoy. A lot of times they're pretty coy with that type of stuff. It's funny, I just realized I always call it, that's how old I am. It's like, I don't know if I did it in the original segment, but now I call him Donald Trump all the time instead of President Trump. Because I grew up with Donald Trump. Like, that's how I knew him. I didn't live down the street, like, hey, Mr. Trump. Oh, you can call me Donnie, little man. It's just weird. I am that old. But anyways, that, again, that has nothing to do with anything I'm talking about. That's just how the human brain works. And you can edit and snip and cut, and now people can say I'm Donald Trump. I used to live next to Donald Trump. You can figure out all sorts of ways to manipulate stuff. But manipulation or not, it is very interesting to have the President of the United States getting asked in mainstream media twice now by two high-level reporters about UFOs. I talk about it all the time. That's not how it was when I was a kid. UFOs were goofball subjects that only big weirdos believed in. Now you have George Stephanopoulos and Maria Bartiromo on national television saying, do you believe in UFOs? And the president giving an answer. So whether or not you believe in alien disclosure or alien tech, that's really cool. The fact that this type of stuff is happening is really, really cool. Not just for the idea of alien disclosure, but just for conspiracy theorists and fans of the paranormal. They need to start asking presidents about ghosts. They need to go up to President Trump and be like, it's October. It's spooky, spooky October. It's Spooktober. Do you believe in ghosts or demons? Dude, wouldn't that be awesome to hear the president talk about? He's like, oh yeah, totally believe in ghosts. There's a ghost right behind you. And then everyone in America turns around and Samara from The Ring is standing behind you. That won't happen. That's my personal fear. I'm always afraid Samara's behind me. But you know what else I should put behind me? This. I'm going to tell you, not saying the podcast, but these bonus episodes are taking longer than the actual episode. But I really do need to limit my bonus episodes. This is my week off. And yet I continue to talk. DeadRabbitRadio@gmail.com is going to be our email address. You can also hit us up at Facebook.com/DeadRabbitRadio. Twitter is at DeadRabbitRadio. Dead Rabbit Radio is the daily paranormal, conspiracy, and true crime podcast. You don't have to listen to it every day. I'm glad you listened to it today. Have a great one, guys. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio Classics, where we replay an old episode with a new intro. And once again, I'm going to go the route. There's obviously a new intro. You're hearing it right now, but I'm going to include an outro. I actually think this is what we might be doing in the future, because it gives me more space to talk about things. In the past ones, I was trying to get stuff out real quick, and I'd like to give you guys more behind-the-scenes stuff. So, this episode was recommended to us by Ivana Kachakov. Sorry, I totally butchered that, but she is a Patreon supporter. Really, really appreciate it. It's so awesome. This was listed as one of her favorite episodes. This might be the most recent episode we've done a classics on. So go ahead and listen to this episode, and then at the end, we're going to have behind-the-scenes information about how the episode came together. But now, let's go ahead and listen to Dead Rabbit Radio Classics, episode 23, Body Horror. Can't say that word, but I'm going to say it several times during the episode. The human body. Everybody has one. At least one. They are miracles of... You can chase down mastodons, or you can simply shake hands with a business partner. But what happens when things go wrong? What happens when things get gross? Put down that chalupa. It's time to talk about body horror today on Dead Rabbit Radio. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Dead Rabbit Radio. I'm your host, Jason Carpenter. I'm having a great day. I hope you guys are having a great day too. It would be a good idea to not use words I can't pronounce in my intros. Horror, like horror movie. I swear that I'm not saying that right. Horror movie. Anyways, speech impediments, they suck. Let's go ahead though and say hi to our newest Patreon, Ivan M. Hey Ivan, thanks for supporting the show. Really, really means a lot. The support always helps me buy dumb stuff, like I finally got Veronica the Haunted Doll in, so she's going to be chilling with me over the weekend. She's very, very creepy looking with those creepy little eyes, but I'm sure she'll be a doll. And she's sitting over there right now as I'm pointing on a podcast. You can't see what I'm doing. But we'll keep her for the weekend. Well, longer than that, and I'll let you know if anything weird or wacky happens. And if you can't support the Patreon, that's cool too. Just get the word out about the show. That helps a lot as well. So I was looking over my topics that I was thinking about doing, and I had this topic sitting on my computer for probably a couple weeks now. And it's simply titled Spider in Ear. And there were so many times that I was going to throw it in as like a 3-minute long story. I'll talk about the spider in the ear. Talk about the spider in the ear. And I just was like, it doesn't fit the theme. And so today I was looking at Spider in Ear, and I go, a body horror episode, like all these horrible things that can go on with the human body and stuff that's happened. And I'm going to cram it all into one episode. That way I just ruin one meal instead of them just popping up randomly through different episodes. You're like, oh, Jason, please stop telling these stories. I'm just going to find some stories like Spider in Ear. And what I found was way more disturbing and gross than Spider in Ear. But let me tell you about Spider in Ear. Kansas City, Missouri. There's this woman named Susie Torres. Her ear hurts. What's going on with my ear? And she can't reach into it. You're not supposed to reach into it anyways, but can't figure out what it is. You guys, I guess I already told you what's in the ear from the topic. Anyways, skip ahead. She goes to the doctor. There's nothing to skip ahead. These are all my notes. Susie Torres, pain in ear, goes to doctor, medical assistant. Both of those words are misspelled, by the way. Medical assistant runs out to get more people, not other medical personnel, just, hey, you, off the street, come here. Hey, you're selling groceries, come in here, guys, everybody. This is how detailed my notes are. That's why people go, hey, man, you got that detail wrong. I'm literally reading my notes right now. Goes to doctor, medical assistant runs out to get more people. More people come in. It's very, very specific, Jason. Here's an actual quote. I think you have an insect in there. Pulls out a brown recluse. All the notes I have for the story, and that's really what the story is. She goes out, the medical assistant went out and got doctors, other medical personnel. They came in, they pulled out a brown recluse, which surprisingly didn't bite her. My buddy's mom got bit by a brown recluse. They almost had to chop her arm off. It started to rot away. Brown recluses are nasty. But anyways, I was like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to tell that story. I think it's super creepy. Who doesn't have like earaches or unexplained aches and pains? I covered that story a long time ago about the person with the runny nose, and it turns out their brain was leaking. It was cerebral fluid dripping out of their nose all over the Thanksgiving dinner. That was the Thanksgiving special, actually. So I always like those stories that highlight kind of like stuff that happens to everybody, but it turns out to be something absolutely mortifying. So I was like, ooh, body horror. Let's do some more body horror stuff. Strap in, guys. If you're eating, just put it away. Eggs Benedict or eating Benedict Arnold. Put them both away. Put away your time travel device and your cannibalistic appetite. Put it away. We are going, first off, to Arizona. Sunny Arizona. The state that never sleeps because the sun never sets. The year is 2014. And this woman has Alzheimer's. There's some dark stuff coming too, guys. This woman has Alzheimer's. I should have warned you before I said that. This woman has Alzheimer's and she's sick. And her son's taking care of her. And the doctors are like, it's so weird because she doesn't have the gene for Alzheimer's. This woman, Doris, she didn't have the gene to get Alzheimer's, but she had Alzheimer's. And the doctor's like, we'd really like to study her brain after she dies. We'd like to have her brain donated because we think the gene may have mutated or something like that. And the son's like, yeah, no, that's totally fine. Like, anything that can help someone else in this position. So when the mother passes away, he goes to donate the body, and nobody could take it for whatever reasons. It's really actually hard to donate a body in a lot of places. So there's a place in Arizona called the Biological Resource Center, and they said, we will take your mom's body, and what we aren't able to donate or sell, we'll cremate and send back to you. And he's like, that's perfect. And they've actually done a lot of stuff like this. Now, he sends the body out, and they end up getting sued. Biological Resource Center ends up getting sued. It became a criminal trial because there started to be some suspicions about what this place was up to. So the feds eventually raided the Biological Resource Center in Arizona, kicked down the door. And what they find in this place where they had it set up that they would come to your house, take your loved one's body for free, and then to make their money back, they would sell and donate body parts around, and what wasn't left, it was the same thing with this guy, they would send to you back in cremation. So you're like, this is pretty good because I'm not having to be charged for cremation, I'm not having to be charged for the body removal. It's a win-win. Somebody gets like this arm to experiment on, the mad scientist poking it with needles, it's alive, and I get the ashes back. So all these suspicions started, the feds kicked down the door of the Biological Resource Center. They find just bodies stacked up, no identification tags, just torsos Just like Jenga blocks. The guy's like trying to pull out an arm, the thing's all wobbling. Feds kick down the door. They're like, that doesn't count. The feds made it wobble as the giant wall of torsos falls down. They find like a cooler. You know, like you got a little cooler, you put your Bud Lights in. It's a hot summer day in Arizona. Drinking it. Full of penises. Just full of junk. Literal male junk. The tour de force of this macabre setting. So the FBI agents are messing, and you bring a girl home to your apartment, and you're like kind of like kicking the rats underneath your couch. You have a truce with them. You're like, don't come out when a girl comes. They're like, okay, can we make her a dress? You're like, yeah, fine, but she can't see you making it. It's one thing to do that. It's one thing to have a messy apartment and bring a girl home. It's something different when when there are federal agents in your business is messy, and your business is body parts. But even that's bad. That's bad. A cooler full of penises is bad. But somebody took the body of a man, a large man, and chopped the head off. They did. They didn't get the body like this, okay? So they got a human body. They chopped the head off the man, took the head of a small woman, put it on the body, sewed it together, had it stand in the corner. There's no amount of... you could say, oh, listen, officer, normally we keep our penises in a certain storage area, but there was a power outage, had to throw them in a cooler. How do you explain the body with a woman's head? Like, there is no explanation for that. So, anyways, that dude who ran the place, his name was Stephen Gore, ironically, he ends up getting, like, probation for all of this stuff. Now, he's currently facing a civil lawsuit. So, you go... What does any of this have to do with Doris, the woman who died of Alzheimer's? Well, she was donated to this place. Was she the tiny head on the body? No. Was she one of the torso stacked up? No. What happened to her was, this all came out because the FBI investigated all this stuff. The Sun found out about this. Was that, and admittedly, I've been thinking about this story. I go, if it was my mom, how would I feel? Versus, if it was me, it'd be pretty dope, honestly. So, and I think, I mean, if it was my mom, I might be a little upset, I don't know, but again, it's kind of badass. So what they did, Biological Resource Center, took her body and sold it to the U.S. military. The U.S. military's like, yes, we got another corpse. They take the body out to the middle of nowhere. It wasn't middle of nowhere, it was a training ground. They didn't take it out to Kentucky, and they're like, come on, boys, let's test this. Take it to a training ground, strap the woman to a chair. 74-year-old woman. They strap it to a chair, put a bomb underneath it, blow her to pieces. Now, the reason why it wasn't just they were bored. They're like, man, what are we going to do? Hey, we got a budget of a couple billion. Let's go buy some corpses. They wanted to see what would happen when an IED hit a human body. Now, to be fair, I think we're pretty clear on that at this point. They blow up. They disintegrate. But they got to keep doing it for some reason. What are you going to get from that? They're like, that's weird. ISIS has the best bombs against 74-year-old corpses, gentlemen. We're losing this war. Like, you know it's just going to disintegrate this old lady. But anyways, the son's really upset about it, and he's part of the lawsuit as well. He goes, when I had my mom donated there, I didn't think you guys were going to blow it up in a chair. But again, think about it. You're like, that's awful, Jason. If my mom... Here's the thing. If my mom got tied to a chair and blew up in real life, I'd be devastated, and I would probably become a vigilante. But if my mom passes away, heaven forbid, or I pass away, or any of my loved ones pass away, and I'm like, I hope they're in a better place. Someone's like, they are, but their body was blown up by the U.S. military. I would be like, hoorah, and I would just salute. Because that's dope. How many people can say that the U.S. military personally, on purpose, blew them up? I mean, I guess millions of people can say that, but still, it would be awesome. Okay, let's go ahead, and if you think, Jason, that's not really body horrific, that's just an old lady being blown to pieces and a couple body parts in a cooler. We're just getting started, man. We are going now to, of course, Florida. It's August 2019, so what was that, 2 months ago? Cops sitting in the police station, nothing to do. Florida's pretty peaceful place. It's like lowest crime rate. Nothing ever happens there. Cops are sitting around, super bored. Phone rings. Bring, bring. Apparently they have a phone from the 1980s. They pick up the phone. They go, 911, what's your emergency? Click. The person hangs up, and they're like, well, we got to send out some units because that's awfully suspicious. So some cops go out, they trace the phone call back. The cops go out